Hey, true believers. Chris Mack coming at you with an action figure review that I've been chomping at the bit to get. Finally got it in the mail, and I knew this immediately. I had to throw this thing in front of the camera. Today, we're going over the McFarlane Toys Spawn's Universe Clown Deluxe action figure. And this thing is massive. Not as big as the Violator, which we will be going over. I figured let's go over Clown first, even though they are one and the same character. Now, if you guys are excited about what you see, please first and foremost check with your local comic shop and see if anybody has this in stock. If not, at the time of this recording, it is available on Big Bad Toy Store, Dorkside Toys. But let me kind of give you guys a cautionary tale right here. I ordered mine on Walmart. Don't do that. At first, took forever. The first one I ordered got canceled, and they said that they're sending another one, so I don't know which one this is. And then when I got this one, it came in an oversized box, opened the box, and there was no bubble wrap whatsoever. This thing was just knocking around loose in there for the whole trip. So I'm hoping that when I get him open that things are going to be in place. So with that said, you see Spawn here, the clown, 14 plus, I guess that's assuming the age group. McFarlane Toys there. Come around to the side, get that McFarlane Toys Spawn. You get a neat action figure product shot there. And here's another thing that pisses me off is when you come to the back, you get a really nice product shot of the figure. But look at this bullshit. No. I made sure to call Walmart already and complained about that. So we'll see what happens. But right now, with that, being a collector, not happy whatsoever. But avoiding that gash there, at least when you look at the figure here. Beautiful looking there. Come around to the side, and I love this McFarlane rendition of Clown. Just a more modern take on him. Very gorgeous black and white artwork there with just the the red to accentuate. Gorgeous stuff there. Come around back to the front. Nothing on the bottom. Nothing on the bottom, nothing on the top. You guys know what I mean. So with that said, let's get this bad mamma jamma out of his packaging and get a closer look at him. And here's Clown out of the packaging. And just look at how epic this figure is compared to like the old school McFarlane Toys Clown. I mean, those, in their heyday were awesome. But now we get this upgraded one with this big ass mecha weapon backpack. And it just looks absolutely gorgeous. But with that said, will this figure piss you off? Yes. Will you love this figure once you kind of get the thing working? Yes. So what do I mean by that? Let's get him off the stand and get a closer look. Quick backstory on Clown. His first appearance was Spawn number 2 from June 1992. Clown is also the Violator. One of his many powers is the ability to shapeshift, and he's also in charge of mentoring all of the new Hell Spawn. So, he's supposed to mentor Al Simmons and everyone that came before him and will come after him. One of the things, like when he's on Earth, is he can survive almost any form of attack, with the exception of decapitation from an angel or a Hell Spawn. So that said, there are some big revelations about Clown in Spawn number 295. We'll go more into that as we go over the actual Violator Deluxe figure. So with that said, on Clown, let's look at the accessories that he comes with. So just like with the multiverse figures, he comes with a stand, which I think is really cool because sometimes, trying to get some of these more deluxe figures to stand up, you need a little extra help. And it's kind of cool that he actually puts the logo there. So for those of you that are more into just posing on a shelf compared to photography, then you have that, which I think is a really neat idea for the fan base. He comes with this really nice knife, serrated on both edges. Very well sculpted. Let me get better focus on that. It's kind of blurry. I like the handle. Very intricate. Looks like it can be paracord or just like whatever they use for knives. Cool details. You can see where the inlays, of the blade go. Very nice shimmering silver there. Good job on that. Same with the old school razor here. I'm a little disappointed that this thing doesn't move up and down, but I bet you that would probably break, so probably a better idea to at least leave it that way. I'm glad that they kind of left like this really fancy looking Sweeney Todd inlays on the blade. So cool. So it has the same shimmering metallic look there. I do kind of wish that they would have left the indentation where the blade is supposed to go, but again, probably save cost and production. So nonetheless, just be able to have it is a nice welcome accessory. He does come, on his hands, he does come with more of a fist. Get that focus. And he has a kind of more of a resting hand, which these are the ones that kind of fit the razor blade a lot better on his hands compared to having that resting hand. He also has more of a gripping hand in his left hand and another resting hand in his right hand. So you kind of get a nice variety of accessories with Clown, which I'm very thankful for. Accessories are always welcome. And then the big thing that he does come with, let me move him back because this thing is mammoth. It's like some sort of like rocket launching some sort of pack. I don't recall seeing this from the comics, so if you guys can reference what issue he used this in, I cannot remember for the life of me, but I love all that gunmetal gray on it. The intricate detail, it looks this just like one of the, one of the shooters in and of itself reminds me of the Nostromo from Aliens. It has rocket launchers, and the thing's articulated. This thing can go up and down here. Doesn't really swivel all that well. One thing to note on this particular accessory, you need to warm the crap out of it because this thing, when you get it in the packaging, it comes, I'm not going to try to futz with it too much, but it comes launched down like this, and I could not twist that for the life of me. I had to put this thing in front of my space heater numerous times to finally get it to pop out and spin. And as you can see, it's still kind of a pain in the ass. But yeah, don't try to start jerking this thing right out of the box or you're going to have a bad time. This piece here, which goes into his hand, it's going to be rubber band up here. So just be careful. Use like some small tweezers or, small, nose cutter scissors and undo the, what is that thing called? Not enough coffee. Rubber band. So yeah, that'll go there. Plugs into his back. And another thing to mention here, man, that gunmetal gray looks so good. Another thing to mention is if you try to just put this thing, as you can see, obviously where the plug goes, right out of the box, if you try to put this in here, it's going to pop out all the damn time. So what I had to do to finally decrease that is I warmed up this hole for a good 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and then I warmed the plug up as well. And in doing so, it finally stays. And there it goes. It still pops out. So that's probably going to be one of the most aggravating things about this accessory. Be careful because these little nubs here on the edge are sharp, and damn does it. You can see the indentions on my fingers. It hurts to push that damn thing in. So let's back out a little bit here. And it's just, even though, like I said, it can be a pain in the ass, it just looks really beautiful. I mean, I love how this thing has like the twin gun barrels on there. It could have helped to, I don't know, maybe add some, maybe some red or something. Because, I mean, that's a lot of gunmetal gray. But nonetheless, all the articulation on it, you can push them in. And then, like you saw a minute ago, you can fold them down. And if these pop out, don't freak out. Like, as long as that little ball joint that you see right there doesn't snap, you're okay. You can just kind of warm it up and pop it back in. I had to do that on both these sides. And you can move them kind of back and forth. Sorry, that's the damn thing here dragging across the floor. But yeah, very welcome accessory there. That's what makes it the deluxe figure. And very well worth it. It looks good on the Clown. You're going to have to really work on balancing with it, though. That's going to be one of the major things for you guys. So for those that are more just for posing on a shelf, I would suggest probably maybe using like a flight stand to just kind of peg him up against, because I don't know if the stand in and of itself is going to be enough. Because whoever put this into production, I don't think really took into account the weight distribution. So you're really going to have to work with it. There's always a certain amount of poses that you can put him in with this thing. So it's just going to be, the patience that you guys have, but me trying to do this in front of the camera, hell no. Plus my table's kind of on an incline, so my clown is more inclined to fall. So yeah, good luck on that, guys. Nonetheless, beautiful piece. Now, with that said, let's look at the paint apps of Clown himself. The one thing that I do want to point out that's kind of the elephant in the room for me is that when that big backpack's not on him, I hate that we have this gaping yellow hole in his back. I don't know. I wish that there was a way that, maybe there's like a little slider that you could slide down and cover that hole, or if they came with like a little accessory, just a little plug to put in there, just so that if you're doing photography, that's not going to stand out. It's like if you're doing like a shot of him trying to stand over Spawn, depending on your lighting, that's just going to show so ugly, and it's just so frustrating. But with that said, I love that the jacket's actually vinyl-y, so it looks like leather. I'm a little perturbed that they did attach the gun belt onto the jacket, so you can't really customize without really screwing up the figure. But nonetheless, I love all the bullets on there. The gold looks good. The brown looks good. I like that old school, it has that ripple effect that shirts do there. The yellow and green looks awesome. The face paint, spot on. I mean, look at the ugly yellow teeth, the beady red eyes. I kind of do wish the face paint that was a little darker blue, but that's okay. It still looks good. That light skin tone, the gray dry brushing with the white that they did in the hair looks good. All that ugliness across the chins, the spikes, it kind of gives out that very punk rock Misfits 90s I don't give a shit look. And of course that stupid plug just really chaps my hide. I'm glad that they did the ripples and the cut off at the jacket here. Skin tone looks good. I mean, you can kind of see the discoloration of the hands that swap out, but from a distance it's not that noticeable, but up close like this you can see that. And I like the way that they bumped the skin to make it look like he actually has arm hair, like with some of the Marvel Legends that we've seen where the arm hair just looks absolutely ugly, like on some of the Wolverines. At least here, the way that they did the ripples with the dry brushing, it's just enough to make it look semi-realistic. Same with the dry brushing for the zippers. Belt looks great. All that black and brown dry brushing and kind of add that battle damage look to it. Jeans are great. They look like, something that a big old Harley guy would be wearing. And the ripples in the jeans just look great. They have some white dry brushing with gray. And, it pivots in all in the right places that jeans would. Boots look great with the spikes. Again, be careful with these spikes when you're posing. I have, again, dented my fingers. All the black looks great. So the paint apps for Clown, he looks almost like he jumped off the pages of the 90s comic. I love that ugly-ass tongue. So yeah, paint apps, absolutely awesome. Articulation-wise, let me give you guys a major warning when you first get this guy out of the packaging. I don't know if this is going to be on everybody's, but on mine, he was super stiff. Like, the legs would not bend the way they were supposed to. The ratchets here just would not go up. And the same with the wrist wrench or socket, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, all those would not move. I put them under my space heater, which I've done a review over how to warm up your figures. I'll try to throw a card up here somewhere for you to check that out. But it wasn't enough. This leg, there was still some paint somewhere in there that was just really mucking up the process. So I had to get the water steaming hot after all that and put them under there for probably about a good minute. And now, finally, all the joints move as they are. So please warm up your figures before you even imagine trying to move these things out of the packaging, because you're going to get all that paint that gets into the joints, and it's just going to stick, and you're more than likely going to end up with a broken figure. So with that out of the way, let's start with the head. You can look down that much and about that much. You can kind of get him to turn his head that way, because it's more, as you can see here, it's more pointed forward, so you can kind of do more of that. So at least there's some play in the head. Arms can go up that much. They do spin 360. Does spin at the elbow, single jointed elbow. Again, for the deluxe figures, that's kind of to be expected, which still kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Wrist spin 360. I'm a little confused on why they put the socket here instead of on top, because you can do that. That looks awful. Weird design choice. I want to put it on top so his hands can move up and down so you get more of like a natural knife stabbing look, but whatever. At least you get that range of motion there. No ab crunch. Can spin pretty good there. The only thing I do hate is you do get a gap there. Same on the legs. The gaps really chap my ass, but at least he moves and he's posable, so I'll let that slide. He does kind of twist a little bit up in here. Be careful though not to break it. Does have single jointed knees, but again, he's a big guy, so you can't be too mad. It is what it is. Feet can spin like that. Foot can go up. Foot can go down. Does have ankle pivot, and then he does have the foot pivot there. So you get a relatively decent range of motion for a relatively beefy deluxe figure. For comparison, here's Clown next to the Age of Apocalypse Deluxe Apocalypse figure, which we've gone over, and that's one of my favorite X-Men wave figures thus far. Here's the Ursa Major Build-A-Figure, and that thing in and of itself is such a beastly, beautiful piece. And then here in the back, just to kind of show off another McFarlane piece, is the Merciless Collect to Build or Build-A-Figure, whatever you want to call it. But the Merciless, boy, does that guy take the cake. And if you put all these on a shelf, if you're just into, posing on shelves, in terms of, what's that word called? Scaling, there it is. I knew it would come to me. I feel like these work out somewhat perfect because Clown, again, is supposed to be more of this small little fat figure. Apocalypse is supposed to be large and in charge. Ursa's kind of in the same boat, where once he mutates into his bear form, he is a big monstrosity. And then, of course, the Merciless, standing probably, I think, is 8 inches tall or something like that. Makes more sense because McFarlane's trying to do the larger wave with the Batman figures. And whenever Bruce puts on the hat of, Eros or whatever it is, he becomes this big, unstoppable guardian and almost defeats Wonder Woman in that Bats Out of Hell arc that we went over. So I'll try to throw a couple of those issues here at this point in the review. I'll try to remember. Don't quote me on that. But again, overall, putting these on a shelf, scaling is going to look absolutely beautiful. This Clown figure, surprisingly, is excellent. It's very much an upgrade from the original McFarlane Toys from way back in the 90s. I mean, those have their charm, but kind of just getting a nice upgrade with the articulation and more sculpting. I'm happy with this character. Yes, the articulation, if you don't warm it up, can be a real pain in the butt. I like the accessories that he comes with. That big mecha rocket launcher thing is a really cool concept. Just make sure that when you pull it out, you're going to have to warm that thing up something fierce, because when I tried to just do it right out of the packaging, it felt like it was going to snap, so I had to put that thing in front of my space heater for a good minute and a half to finally get it nice and loose and move all those things the way that they do. In terms of the figure himself, I think my biggest gripe is when you take that mecha rocket launcher thing out, they leave that plug in the back. Either I wish they would have either A, filled that color in with the same color as the coat, kind of like how Marvel Legends do when they have that plug for Cap's shield when they use that mold, or B, give you like an actual little plug to plug in there, because now you just have this huge yellow hole in his back when you're not using it, and just sort of like, guys, it's very counterintuitive. Speaking of which, as I said earlier, make sure that when you do plug that backpack into him, warm this part up, because if not, it's going to keep plopping out. That was real frustrating until I just kind of warmed that little area up and I just held them together. And as I said, it just finally worked for me. So yeah, it's going to take some patience, but it pays off in the end, because this is one epic figure. And if you're a Spawn fan like I am, this is one you want in your collection. So with that said, if you have enjoyed it, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and see if they've got it in stock. If not, you can check out the links that I talked about at the beginning of the review. Speaking of, if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little clown bell next to subscribe, that way we can continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Photo slideshow coming up next. And I hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.